I'm Aoife Daly. I am a dendrochronologist. Dendrochronology is the study of tree rings to find out the age of timber. Trees make a ring every year, and depending on the climate that has been, the weather and climate that has been affecting the tree, a tree might put a narrow ring or a wide ring or something in between. And that becomes a kind of a fingerprint for the time that the tree was growing and for the region where the tree was growing. And we can use that fingerprint to match it with other trees and to find out all sorts of things about the history of that tree, when it was felled, where it had grown, where it was transported to, what was the climate like.
En torr sommar kommer trädet växa långsammare och årsringen blir tunnare. En regnig sommar kommer trädet växa mer och årsringen blir tjockare. Vädret påverkar alla träd i samma område på samma sätt. För att se årsringarna tydligt skär Aoife ett snitt med en vass kniv innan hon stryker krita över ytan. När vi tittar ned i mikroskopet syns små hål i virket. Det här är typiskt för ek. Hålen är långa rör som trädet transporterat näring och vatten igenom. Zoomar vi ut ser vi att ringarna bildar rader. Det här är årsringarna. Aoife har markerat var 10:e årsring med rosa penna för att underlätta sitt arbete.
I want to make as accurate as possible a measurement of the tree's growth from the earliest, the innermost ring to the outermost ring in the sample. I'm looking for trees, samples with many rings meaning greater than 80, maybe hopefully greater than 100 rings. So old trees, big timbers, because I need a long sequence of that fingerprint to be able to actually successfully date it.
Under årtionden har forskare byggt upp mängder av data från träprover. Det är ett ständigt pågående pussel.
Through the last 50-60 years in Northern Europe, dendrochronologists in different laboratories from Ireland in the west to Poland, the Baltic countries in the east, have been building data sets from living trees, from historical buildings, from timber from archaeological sites, timber from river gravels, timber from bogs. And they have been measuring the tree rings and finding where they all stepwise match together.
De nya träproverna jämförs med det här enorma referensmaterialet för att hitta matchningar. Aoife letar efter mönster där hennes mätningar överensstämmer med referensmaterialet. Hittar hon en matchning med flera av varandra oberoende källor har hon sannolikt hittat rätt tid och plats. Proverna hämtas på olika sätt till laboratoriet. När det gäller skeppsvrak sågas provet oftast direkt från vraket på sjöbottnen, på sätt och vis en åverkan på kulturarvet. Hur ser Aoife på det?
Of course, the preservation of heritage is important, but what are we preserving it for? One of the major things about having objects from the past is the knowledge we gain from them. It's not for them to sit and look pretty in an exhibition. So for me, of course, every time we sample, we have to take consideration of what it is we're doing and what kind of alteration we are doing on an object that is so unique and preserved. But you know, we find out so much more by taking 10 samples from a wreck and being able to tell a hugely detailed story about the date of the wreck, the timber's origin, the trade of timber that indicates. We have an enormous amount of knowledge that we can build from just looking through the microscope and analysing a whole bunch of samples, looking at their crazy tree rings. So it's justified.